Well, let's delve into those two difficult areas, and then we'll come back to all the enablers and finish with a slightly more positive
Yeah.
bit. But let's deal into the two difficult areas. Let's start with some of the difficulties you've had, and then I guess that will also spill into some of the money conversations
Yeah.
afterwards
Oh,
as well. Because people are
always a
going to be
tough one.
listening, just going, "Well, where's the money coming from?" So, but we'll get to that in a minute. But
Yeah.
what have been some of the other difficulties then? Because it can't, like you say, I'm not, no one's listening to you thinking this has been a perfect road or a smooth
No,
road.
not
So,
at all. And it hasn't been perfect. I think the one thing that I did realize early on that there needed to be accountability, and there needed to be accountability for
okay,
me within the organization. So I very quickly set up a board at the very start of this. So I
okay,
was able to utilize that for accountability and safety in this thing. And I think we've had things over the years. So we've had like issues, sexually inappropriate issues. We've had criminality, Sorry, we might have to go back and do that. That was me. The doorbell just went there now. Sorry.
that's absolutely fine. So yeah, you said you'd had inappropriate sexuality. You've
Yeah, yeah. So
criminality.
yeah, and yeah, things around that, things that have breaches of confidentiality within groups, and just some of the things that are really difficult to navigate whenever you bring 60 plus people in together from different backgrounds, and different things. And I feel that I've always done the right thing by people. I think people may not feel that I might have always done the right thing by people,
Okay.
but I've always made a point of never acting on my own. And I think
Mhm.
this is where the accountability has been really important, and why we needed a code of conduct. We needed to ensure that it stayed safe. You can't have drugs and alcohol on the premises. It's just a no-go, things like
Yeah,
that. We
yeah.
don't tolerate aggression at all, at any level, or anger. Um, and
Is there an added sorry, is there an added dimension for that for you? Because if you're really pushing people with exercise and level, are you not actually getting a little bit of people pumped up? I
yeah,
wonder if you're managing it in a slightly different way to other people,
yeah,
or are they managing just to get rid of enough
yeah.
aggression? I'm interested in that.
We've
Like,
never we've never had that as a direct result of the exercise, or people
okay,
engaging
fantastic.
in people engaging in the sessions and things like that. I think it just whenever so relapse. So let's take relapse has been one of the biggest challenges for me, right?
Okay.
So if I look, so we had to create a relapse structure and a relapse pathway, okay?
Hmm.
And it ties in the funding and how we're funded and stuff like that. So if I'm offering these free places for people, and people are trying to get on them and they can't get on them, and somebody is coming and they're not engaging and they're not been staying sober, or it's been so it was
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
been really hard, because it's forced me to put some kind of system in place where, if you don't follow the system, then you're going to have to step back, and then you can come back again.
Yeah, so you were beginning to say that the violence is not coming through the exercise, but you'd then gone on to talk about the relapse as being a really
Yeah.
important pathway for people. Yes.
So the relapse thing has been really difficult for me, right? Because my experience of recovery was like I lapsed and relapsed for 2 years before I got consistently sober. Okay. However, I'm trying to run an organization to give people access to things, and there had to be some kind of guideline around that. And it's not about, it's not about removing people from the organization if they relapse. So here's what we do. So if someone is on a program and they lapse or relapse, then hey, we sit down, we educate, we look at the issue, we do relapse prevention, and we give people opportunity. We check in with them in 2 weeks' time, and we give them opportunities. And then if it happens again in the future, we do exactly the same thing. So there's another point of contact. Now, bearing in mind, everybody has access to help and support all of the time. And then we manage and we deal with that. And then if it happens again, then we ask them to re-engage in the program again. So there's three big opportunities for change.
Yeah.
And then if they're still unable to maintain that, then this is where we've had to draw a line. And it's a really difficult conversation, because we never close the door, and people have done the program multiple times. But we have to come to a point where we say, maybe at this point in time, you're just not ready for this. But is there something else that we can offer you in the meantime? Because if I have a waiting list of 200 people trying to gain access to a service that they can't get access to, because, you know, we're constantly engaging with individuals, then it's a really difficult place for me to be. So I find that really difficult, one, as an individual who's experienced this, but also I feel like we give people a lot of opportunity. And I know that relapse isn't linear, or sorry, I know that recovery isn't linear. But putting some guidance in place for that, I think, was one of the hardest things that I've had to do. That and a costing, but
I found relapse in other recovery communities can actually be quite difficult. It becomes quite tense. So the individual has good relationships with everyone in the recovery community whilst they're sober, and as they begin to relapse, actually, you know, we've all got alcohol goggles and alcohol voices, and when those take over, they actually then become quite difficult. It can be quite nasty or confrontational or blaming or angry, and all those unnecessary bits then kick in as well. And and at some instances it becomes actually quite personal as well, and you know, and all of that's messy, isn't it? It's horribly messy.
But you know what's interesting, right? And you mentioned that, and yes, and it can be personal. I can deal with that part because I kind of know people say stuff when they're angry and they're frustrated, and that's fine. I can deal with all that verbal stuff. The physical stuff maybe a little bit different, but I can take the personality. And we've had people that things have happened and they've come back because I understand that this thing is difficult. But there has to be some system in place, or else we can't meet the need and the demand of the people that we're coming through. So it's been a real struggle for me, and the people around me have seen that it's been a struggle. But I think there needs to be something, to keep the integrity of the program running. There needs to be something in place, but there also needs to be options.
I'm also hearing something in your story which for me feels really normative with recovery communities, which is as they grow and understand themselves and understand the communities and understand what's needed, actually that has to be kind of reframed and repositioned, because what you were doing with 6 people on Facebook 5 years ago isn't the same as what you're doing now. And so that has to change, doesn't it?
And I think that's where the leadership has to be really strong, right? Because I'm bringing people that have been there from the start. We were friends. We were, we were buddies. We were doing all these things. I'm now leading a team of people and managing people that were friends before, and having to bring people on that journey as well and make the decisions, not only for the safety of the people that need ARC Fitness, but also the safety of the people that work within ARC Fitness as well. And boundaries. And all those things have been.
I had to, for the organisation I work with, I've recorded a film on boundaries that everyone has to watch.
We worked because we were small at the very beginning. It worked because it was small and we could connect them. Everybody was engaged. But you can't do that now. Whenever there's 10,000 followers on Facebook and everybody wants to message you. So there has to be things put in place. And there was the fear: does it become less? But it's going to become less because something is going to happen because we can't keep the integrity.
Yeah. And the other bit you've touched on, which I find really interesting, and it is another thing that happens in recovery communities as they grow.
Yeah.
We turn friends into colleagues or employees or, people we manage and stuff. And that also gets complicated and, not unique to us. I'm sure if you, develop your own local business elsewhere, it's not dissimilar.